I'm going to go ahead and just go over a couple quick housekeeping items, some things to keep in mind throughout the presentation, and then we'll get into some of the fun stuff here. There is my office hours presentation. Here we go. All right, so you should see the housekeeping items on the screen. Awesome. All right, so for one, you can check out the Q&A section at the bottom. I'm actually going to go ahead and activate it right now. If you click the Q&A, you can go in there and start typing some questions, things that maybe you're having challenges with in your business. And we are going to attempt to help use AI and demonstrate how AI might be able to help you solve those challenges or get some advice. So you can use the chat as well, but Ashley will be predominantly monitoring the Q&A and feeding some questions to Jessica and Charles here to demonstrate. If you conclude any details, you don't have to, but you're totally welcome to, and they do help. So things like what is the type of business that you run, who is your target audience, anything you can describe about your brand, and the location can sometimes help as well. So for an example, I need help creating social media content for my seafood restaurant in Fort Worth, Texas. We're a funky, family-friendly restaurant. That will allow our AI tool to be able to give you a more targeted results based on all of the details that you've given. A couple quick disclaimers. So we are excited to recommend generative AI for small businesses, but it's super new and it's still in development. So effectiveness may vary. And also you want to make sure that you avoid entering any sensitive information, private, personal information, and also look at the output and review it for accuracy, as some of these results may be out of date or inaccurate or completely hallucinated, which we will definitely chat about. Also, we are going to be demonstrating ChatGPT today by OpenAI, but this webinar is just for demonstration purposes. We're not affiliated, endorsed, or sponsored by ChatGPT or OpenAI. Couple just expansions on those earlier disclaimers. You want to manually review AI-generated content for accuracy. So generated content may be out of date. GPTs can hallucinate. You want to fact check those claims. In terms of sensitive info, anything that you enter may be used to train AI models, and there's no such thing as 100% secure systems. So you just want to make sure that what you're putting in there, that you're okay with it potentially being exposed in the future. AI also lacks emotional intelligence. This goes back to checking the output. Content could be toxic or discriminatory, so make sure that everything that you're going to use if you're going to publish it somewhere aligns with what you want to put out there as a message. And then final note on that, there could be intellectual property, right? There are a lot of tools trying really hard to make this more fair, but there could be copyrighted work, it could be content from your competitors or other proprietary sources. So use your judgment and ultimately consult your legal advisor. So that is just the stuff we have to get through to kind of give you some guardrails here. And then I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and pass it over. Charles and Jessica, if you want to give yourself some intros, and if Charles, you're feeling good about taking over the demo for like 15 minutes for me, that'd be great.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll kick it off. I'm Charles Wilkie. I work here at GoDaddy on the digital guidance team. We do help center content. So I'm a senior content developer, mostly focused on websites plus marketing as a product, but this year has been very AI focused. So I'm here and excited to kind of help show the opportunities of what's available, even with the free version of ChatGPT.
I just want to say, I think Jessica is having some sound issues. Are you working now?
Okay. I just got it fixed. Wow.
Perfect.
I am here.
All right, Jessica, if you just want to introduce yourself real quick, and then we can go ahead and get started. While Jessica's introducing herself, if anybody in the group wants to put in what their business is and what they'd like to learn and how they'd like to use AI, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm Jessica. I'm a content strategist here at GoDaddy. I work primarily with the GoDaddy Studio team, doing a lot of graphic design assets. And recently, we've been doing a ton of work with AI prompt work and engineering. So mostly through Content Lens, which is why I'm excited to talk to everyone here.
All right. So I think I'll jump in and share my screen if we wanted to start. This is the basics of the 3.5 Turbo ChatGPT. This is everything you can access for free. You don't need a Plus subscription. I actually don't even know if Plus subscriptions are available right now. So we're going to just focus on what you can do with the free version. So let's start kicking it off. Do we have any specific contextual focuses that we would like to start with? Specifically, type of business, type of need for the business. I mean, we can riff, but it'd be great to have a specific use case to run through. All right.
Alessandra said, and I hope I said your name correctly, I have a jewelry store just started. Congratulations, first
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. So, to my mind, if I've just started a foray, like, do you have your product offerings set? Are you looking to try and attract a specific demographic or focus in on a specific type of jewelry? It's okay to say you don't know, because this can also help with the ideation.
I think what might be cool, I'm back, by the way. There's, if we want to go and if you can open another tab to go to smallbusinessprompts.com. I know Ashley threw a link in the chat already, but that's where we have our prompt library, and we actually have a section for start a business. So we might want to try and demo something from there, and that might get some juices flowing for folks. I'm also happy to take over the screen share if you want to know.
Oh, sure. Oh, are you okay?
I'm back. I'm back. Yeah. It's all good.
Okay.
We got it all figured out here. So
Okay.
And
cool.
Alessandra said that she attracts a niche of jewelry with gems.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got a couple different questions. So yeah, if there's, don't even know what questions to ask. Honestly, that's totally fair. This is a new tool for a lot of folks. So
well, honestly, yeah, the best way to start, I would say, like, all right, so you've got niche jewelry with gems. So obviously gems have a lot of value to different types of people. There's birthstones, there's different types of gems that have different characteristics that people are looking for, right? Like, I had just learned about moldavite, which is supposedly like this incredible life-changing material that if you bring it into your life, so there's so much depth to the interest and the value, the individual contextual value. So yeah, having ChatGPT be the sounding board for, like, what is desirable about whatever gems you've currently got. What markets would be attracted to other types of gems that you could bring in to your offerings. I feel like that's probably a good first step.
Yeah, let's check out this prompt. I pulled it from the starting a business section of our prompt, and then see, Jessica and Charles, if you have any insights, things we could add to it to make it more relevant for Alessandra. Niche jewelry with gems. So I'll make sure to add that. Act as a successful entrepreneur and business coach. You're advising me on starting my first small business, a jewelry business in the retail industry. Guide me through the essential steps to launching online. I'm assuming it's online, by the way. Correct us if you're wrong, if it's wrong. In particular, explain how to perform market research, just like you were saying, Charles, to identify potential opportunities in competition, research legal requirements for setting up a business, develop a solid business plan, and efficiently allocate resources. I might add that little note that it is, we attract.
Like, as you type that, let me just say, like, it's best to give the context that you've already got up front.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this concept of zero shot and few shot prompting. And in this instance, like, if we didn't include any of the contextual information about your specific business, that would kind of be a zero shot beginning point, where it would be like, okay, well, what kind of business are you doing? Like, there will be a lot of follow-ups that you could answer right at the front. So that's why I usually like to inject a little bit of that contextual relevance right from the start, just to get a lot of those kind of pleasantries out of the way, and it can start to drill down even faster.
Yeah, we've got the role here, we've got the task, we've got some steps here. Anything, Jessica, that you'd want to add into this?
If there's any particular, and obviously if you don't know up front, that's where GPT can help you. But if you kind of understand an audience that you're trying to reach, or a particular reason that to review to start your business that is attached to an audience, I find that GPT really responds to it pretty well because it loves to talk about people. But again, if that's just information you're not sure of yet, or you're still trying to navigate, that's something that GPT could potentially help you find out too.
And
Totally.
also
Yeah, I
with
think
like,
that market research piece there will definitely help.
Mhm.
yeah, but I think also maybe focusing in on your specific category that you're like, is it high end, is it consumer
Mhm.
grade? Like if you focus in, that will really help it understand what competition to surface in this conversation. So like if you're, let's say you're on Etsy, or let's say, maybe you have a different demographic that you're really focusing in on, that would help it understand how to frame competition in this conversation.
All right, well, we've put in what we have so far. So let's just run it, because I think once people see
Yeah.
this in action, it changes for everything for everybody. So
For
as you can
sure.
see, it's very fast.
Yeah.
And we've asked it specifically to create advice today. So I'll scroll back up and we can kind of go through. And Jessica, Charles, if you see anything that you want to point out in the output, we can chat through
Yeah,
it.
actually, well, for the output, like it's giving you a structured response, and you
Mhm.
can bring that into your conversation. So like it's obviously saying like, well, you need to define your target audience. So you could even just say like, okay, with regards to your response, number one, my niche is this. Also maybe help me with competitor analysis. And I know that 3.5 doesn't have web browsing capabilities, but they're getting pretty good at catching up to current. So right now it's April
Mhm.
2023. So you could ask it to say like, it within your training data, are you able to identify existing competitors within this niche, like within this area that I'm trying to focus on?
I love that this prompt is specifically about the first steps. And I love that it sort of breaks it down. And then if there's anything like Charles mentioned that you want to know more about, like explain like I'm 5, how to set my product strategy. Like, let's go. I want more help with this section. You can just chat to it like a friend. It's very much like a consultant or an employee that you can use to get things done. So let's move on. We have lots more ideas coming in from the chat. Ashley, what's the next one up that we have?
Let me jump in here. Liana has a dog training business, and looks like she's just getting started with AI. So very, very beginning. So Liana, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, is there something specific you're looking to do with your business that we can potentially help you with AI? If you want to put that in the chat, that would be great.
I know I saw her say like she's not even sure what to ask. So we know
Yeah.
that dog training is a service industry business. So this will give me a chance to just quickly show how our prompt library works. There's all these quick links here. So if you want to learn how to use this tool that we're using, Bard by Google, and also Bing AI are great options that are chatbots like this. We have a cheat sheet. You can have features, a couple more office hours, I think one more scheduled. And then we've got these prompts by business objectives. So are you selling physical like goods like, Alessandra with the jewelry business, digital products, or service appointments? So with this one being a dog walking business, yeah, it's services, right? Totally. So that's why I thought we'd go into here. Oh yeah, I was going to show other stuff. There's prompts by category. This is our like OG section where we just kind of have them categorized by what task you're trying to accomplish. And then we do have some by vertical. So these are some of the biggest verticals we work with. But let's check out and see if anything here, Leanna, seems to speak to you. So lead generation and marketing, this is probably the number one request that we get from these office hours is how do I get more leads? How do I get more customers? Time management, communicating with clients, business cash flow, standing out in your market. Yes, more leads, Leanna. Okay, we got it. Handling, hiring, and staffing. So you can check these out. This is all freely available, this prompt library. And we have written these prompts. We've had them optimized by prompt engineers as well as enthusiasts here at GoDaddy. So we are continuing to try to get these optimized more on a quarterly basis. I know Jessica works with the prompt team that creates prompts for our AI enabled tools. So trying to see if we can, just take the goodness of all the AI stuff we're doing at GoDaddy. So let's throw this one in, and then Jessica, I'll throw it to you first to see if you have any input. Acting as an expert in service-based business marketing and lead generation, provide targeted and actionable advice to I love it when it's just one. It's just one little thing. But Leanna, if you have anything specific you want to say about your business, is it, a specific clientele, specific experience that you want to highlight, that might help. So dog walking business, and then I don't know if there's
dog training.
Oh, dog training. Sorry, my bad.
No, we're good.
Dog walking is always the one that I go to when I'm doing a test. I don't know why. Dog training, business owner who is struggling with generating leads and marketing for their services effectively. Your advice should include proven techniques for attracting customers, promoting services, and converting prospects into paying customers. I feel like because this is a very location specific business, a location might be good to add here. Anything else you thought of immediately, Jessica?
Yeah, the location is definitely one. And then again, kind of like Charles mentioned earlier, if there was any upfront information that you already know about your business, like the types of customers, either maybe you only work with small dogs or large dogs or different types of breeds, any kind of detail could help it kind of generate more specific advice versus just more general broad stuff. But yeah,
I've also found it's great to prime it with like, you're an expert in service-based businesses, but I think a really helpful key is explain why you started doing what you do.
yes,
That then can help paint all of the information that comes out that's more aligned with kind of your trajectory as to like why you do this. I mean, obviously, dog training is a difficult and time intensive task, and you have to have some amount of love for the owners and the pets and everything in between. And just kind of like, freestyling your feelings about that in the context window is so huge. You could write a whole novel right here. But all of that helps in the process.
It looks
you don't need fancy prompts like this. You can just free write. And it doesn't need to be grammatically correct. Your prompt can have spelling errors. It doesn't matter. But the most important thing is getting across the meat and potatoes, like the really important pieces of like what you want and what you're about.
Well, that's the best part about the prompt library is like it's a component. It's a Lego, So like it's not necessarily like an easy bake oven where it's a one and done. You just use that as a starting point or a foundation for the beginning of a conversation, and then you'll have a lot more success.
Definitely. It does. It's interesting seeing how you like through using the tool, you kind of learn how to talk to it. I always say that sometimes it can be like talking to a coworker, trying to explain kind of, give them the context that you would somebody who is working with you alongside you. I know Liana did say that they're working with young professionals with no kids is something potentially that we can plug in. Yeah, but maybe this is a great example of like searching through the result and seeing how we could then respond with that information too.
Yeah. Well, and also just like a thought experiment, like young professionals with no kids most likely would have dogs suffering from separation anxiety. They're probably going to be left alone more frequently since there are no kids. And if you're a professional, you're likely out of the house. So those types of thought experiments to kind of like trickle down and think about like, oh, okay, I do focus on positive reinforcement and I focus on this market, and there could be a good cross section within that.
And I think what's also great about GPT here, the way it breaks down in this formatting, the numbered format, is that you can always reference each one. And even if you have a whole conversation about tracking and analyzing results, you can then say, okay, well, can we revisit this topic? And it will pick up the conversation right where it left off, which is really great.
Yeah, that's part of the amazing aspects of this context window. If you think about it less as a single prompt and more as the beginning of a conversation, that's all going to be retained. This conversation will live as available context throughout the duration of what you talk about. So yeah, feel free to, hey, what you mentioned, 5 minutes ago, or you said this earlier, and let's revisit that, or let's massage this part of it. And like, don't be afraid to ask it to kind of like redo some of the work that it was already doing, or rephrase what it was saying. It's not going to get offended. And trust me, I've tried. to offend it. And it's very good about like, just give me another one, give me another one, give me another one, and it will, and you don't have to worry.
My internet is a bit weird, so I'm sorry if
Uh-oh.
I'm choppy. But I wanted to try a prompt now that can kind of bridge into like the content creation, because showing the ability to create tables is something I think blows people's minds a little bit if they've never done it. So I think this is the one I always come back to, and it's nice because it also allows me to illustrate that once you start a chat, this context, everything you've said, it remembers. So you don't need to tell it again what kind of business and industry you are. You can just say my business. It knows. So for this prompt, embody the strategy of a skilled content manager, develop a 6-month content calendar for my business, should account for relevant holidays, industry events. And because we've told it about, I just said Seattle, I just made that up. It may actually pull in some unique events for Seattle specifically. And then what I'm going to do to change this is format as a table. Format the output as a table. I'm just going to run it for now, but I know Charles and Jessica, you probably would have some optimizations for this one. I just want to quickly show that it's already bringing in things about positive reinforcement. You mentioned that was a specialty. Content types. This is actually new. It didn't do this for me before. So this is a column I didn't actually see when I've run this in the past, but it's got the themes, key dates and events for each month starting in January. So there you go. There's 6 months of content planned for your business.
That's amazing. I'm always blown away.
I know, right?
It's like I work with this stuff, and it's still like every time it does something like this, I'm just like, man, this is so cool.
Well, and we're nearing the 1-year mark, right? It was
November.
It's like today or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's the world has changed so much in so short amount of time. But again, just kind of going off of that whole, you're an expert in this, expert in that. Don't be afraid to also say, like, you're my customer. You are a young professional. You have no kids. You have a dog that you love. Align your desires for a dog trainer with the offerings that I've already established in this conversation. That type of kind of synthesized thinking is also really helpful.
Yeah, I've seen people do like, pretend you're Steve Jobs so I can ask you questions about what would you give me? Like,
it would phrase it like Steve Jobs then too.
Yeah. I want to consult with Steve Jobs, pretend to be Steve Jobs and give me business advice. So people do that kind of stuff with ChatGPT, and it can write poetry, combining styles of very different poets, or
now, mind you,
my favorite AI experiment was like write a rap by Drake about how he doesn't like beans in his chili. And then they used UberDuck to synthesize his voice based on his music videos, and then actually created a song that sounded like Jake from ChatGPT's lyrics about not liking beans.
That is stunning, but that's also a hallucination. Yeah. So like the beauty of it is also kind of the danger. So like we need to always make sure that like it's talking like Steve Jobs, but it's not quoting Steve Jobs.
Totally. And if you even ask it, hey, can you get me 50 quotes from Steve Jobs on this topic? It will make stuff up, or it will pull stuff from its training data where it's like, thinks it was a quote, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was mentioned somewhere in a forum. And it all depends on the training set, right? And I don't know if either of you wants to speak about that a little bit and explain, like I'm 5, how machine learning works, but I think sometimes that's helpful.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Charles.
No, it's forced to say something, and if it doesn't know, it will make it up. And it says there at the bottom, it can make mistakes. Hallucinations are just kind of like open, like a Mad Lib. It's like, well, I have to say something here, so this is it. Like if you don't name your product or service, it will give it a name. Sure. And that's technically a hallucination, but it's also really useful for brainstorming. So it's just in how you wield it.
100%. If you're asking it for, educational tips on, your specific area of focus, they will likely need to be fact checked. But it, like Charles said, it's a great way to brainstorm different types of content, especially if you're diving into social media, you're not really sure where to start, and you need, different ways, different jumping off points. But I think that human aspect is always what's really important here. With ChatGPT it's an amazing tool. But it is, I think important to put your own spin and, that human element back into it, because it is a great assistant. But I think you, and as the business owner is what really makes things shine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like we say act as an expert, but that's really in the tone and voice that it uses, not in the content of its actual information.
Right.
So it will always default to its training data. And if it's not an expert in something and you're telling it to act as one, it'll still act as one. But again, that's like a recipe for hallucinations. So always remember, you are the expert in your venture. And this is here to assist in that, but you always have to vet what comes out of it.
Totally. 100%. It really, the more info you can give it up front, sometimes really is the best, because it does really lean into that, and you'll have less hallucinations if it's kind of like has more pieces of the puzzle to use at the start. So for sure.
Again, that's part of the beauty of it. And you can really harness what we call hallucinations in the proper context. It's just ideas. And so it's a hallucination when you think it's fact and it isn't. It's an idea when you know we're brainstorming. So it's really just, again, a contextual shift in how we approach the output. That it's just, a starting point, a jumping off point, or an interesting idea to consider.
And I wanted to touch on something that Liana said earlier about not really knowing where to start. I think for what it's worth, a lot of folks are in that boat. And I think one of the best ways to approach it is, what is difficult for you as a small business owner or a business owner in general? Where are you where do you think you could save time by having an assistant help you? Or what's an area you don't know a lot about that you'd like to learn more about? Like maybe it's social, maybe it's SEO, maybe it's, building leads, that kind of stuff. But I think kind of starting with like an introspection of, like, where can I save time? Because I'm busy. I'm trying to start a business. Like, what are the best ways that I can get some jumping off points and something done quickly to kind of give me some ideas without having to spend a couple days like thinking on it. So yeah, just wanted to mention that, because I feel like some folks,
I'm going to jump back into a demo, y'all. We can talk, we can keep talking, but I want to keep showing some folks what we're doing here. So I went back up in the chat and found Sherry Chapman mentioned an e-commerce hairline and electronics and digital drop shipping website being completed. I don't know what hairline refers to here. So Sherry, if you're still here, if you want to drop any items in the chat, but my first thought with drop shipping was like inventory management, maybe. I don't know if maybe that's incorrect, but I thought it'd be a chance for us to demo something we haven't before. So, but if there's other challenges, questions, things you want to see, just questions about AI in general, please pop them in the chat. So Jessica and Charles can help
well,
too.
Yeah, I just want to wax poetic a little bit about like the like the needing help aspect of business, creation, formation, growth, acceleration, all that good stuff. Again, the way that this technology works is, if you give it a starting point, like, I do this, I love this, I found success with this is my niche, this is my audience. And then go into like, oh, but I'd really love to start attracting new business in this area, or spreading out to this service, or maybe getting this new product. Giving that kind of those 2 points will really help line up the output even better. So yeah, you definitely want to have your pain point top of mind, but I like to call it priming the instance. So you prime the instance with as much information about you, why you do what you do, who you do it for, and the success that you found. And then start outlining like, oh, but I actually would like help with this also. And I think that would probably draw the straightest line to a solution that's most custom tailored to your needs.
Definitely. Sometimes I even just approach it, while I think the prompts we have in the library are amazing. I think that it's a great starting point. If you're not even sure where to start from within that, I sometimes will ask ChatGPT if it can help me with a certain task. And a lot of times it will break down the ways it can help me. And then from there, you could go into the library and find a prompt that would then match some of those things. So if you're not even really super familiar with all the capabilities of GPT, I always say the best solution is just to ask it a question. And once you're started, I think the ball really gets rolling.
Well, yeah, I noticed a shift in how I used it. Like I started with, can you do this?
Yeah.
Like every time I ask somebody,
Exactly.
can you do this? And now I've noticed that I've switched to please do this.
Yes.
So now that I'm becoming more aware of what it can do, I've switched my wording. Even when I'm talking to it, I'm just like, no, I know you can do this. Please do this.
Yeah.
And I do use please
I know we
frequently.
chatted about asking it to ask you like some questions as well. You can say
Yeah,
like, hey, I need
help me
help getting leads for my
brainstorm.
business. Ask me any questions you need to know. And then
Mhm.
instead of you having to come up with all the variables, it says, okay, I need to know what your goals are, your target audience, how much budget do you have, what's your team look like? And then you just answer whatever questions you want to. You do not have, like, it gives you 12 questions, answer 3 of them. It doesn't matter. Once you answer those questions, it will output, here's what I would suggest to help you. And you can just refine from there. So I'm going with Sherry's question here on, she's got a wigs and hair extension business. I just added this one on like omni-channel, which is our prompt on connecting your e-commerce and like brick and mortar retail. So again, a lot of these prompts are advice generators, basically. Like they don't necessarily output. A lot of the content creation ones are more like, hey, you now have something you can copy and paste and put into a blog post or social. So we can play with some of those as well. Great question, Sherry. If you too have any experience with AI WordPress, I know we have an AI WordPress tool that I can quickly chat about. And then you had mentioned, Sherry, that you're working on certification to take insurance for people with autoimmune, MS, alopecia, etc. So I just literally pasted in what you said in the chat. And look how nice ChatGPT is. I agree. It's a very noble and important endeavor. So here's some things that you should be thinking of, additional helps that you can take and some steps. So right there, it kind of breaks it down for you. And if any of these pieces, you're like, I don't know what the next steps are for this, you can just ask it. Any other thoughts? Charles,
This is also really good for structuring your information on like your website. You know, if you want to surface in queries through whatever search apparatus will exist in the next year, Google, Bing, I mean, even ChatGPT is kind of becoming a search engine of its own. But like like understanding how to structure your information to properly attract those looking, like that type of schema that is outputted right there for your next steps, it would be a good way to even start structuring like an about section on your website.
Yeah. I would love to try that too. I just keyed off what you said about keywords. And so I've got one here for generating some target keywords, using proven techniques, consider factors. And so this will output it for you. And this is another great one that you could probably put into a table if you wanted to ask it to sort of, instead of putting these into lists and lists, have it in a table format, and then you can move it into a spreadsheet.
And it can get pretty specific, especially depending what I think that's a really great plus to GPT is that no matter where you are in your knowledge of something, either A, you can always learn more, but for example, SEO, let's say, you know, you're someone who's like a little more well-versed in SEO and you want to explore like metadata and how to plug in how do you make the most of SEO within your website for these specific audiences. You can then take these keywords that's given you and say, can you please like create the metadata that I would need to input into my site? And so it's really this wonderful cycle of, really a conversation back and forth on how to improve those. But I think that's great because then, or if you're really not sure, you can say, thanks, what should I do with these words now that you've given them to me? And it'll, can help you through there.
Well, and as a small preview of what is available for the like plus subscribers, again, we're not promoting this, but a function of the plus membership for like GPT-4 that can scan the internet, you would be able to say like, hey, here's my website, give it a look-see, and then use that information, you know, as indicators of my voice and tone, as indicators of my target market, as indicators of my services and products and stuff. So that's a little bit more functional at that point. Unfortunately, the free version does not have live web crawling at this point.
Yeah, I'll just demo this really quickly. Hopefully it works. Sometimes it's a little janky, and I'm just free writing, right? So help me with competitive analysis for an e-commerce wig and hair extension company. Please format as a table. Anything else you would add to this?
I always think it's great to see what it comes up with. And then, well, for me personally, I always start with a more basic question if I am not really sure what else to add, and then add from there. But yeah, I think this is exciting.
See, it's
See
not
if
doing
it'll
it for
put
me
it.
this time.
Oh,
it's giving me a, sorry, my internet is being silly right now.
There we go.
Stop my video again. So it's giving you the template. I'm gonna stop it here and be like, actually find me competitors.
Yeah, well, I think in that instance, you probably want to say specifically browse
online,
browse the internet.
There
There
you
go.
There you go.
So again, this is GPT-4, and this is the paid version that I believe is $20 a month US. So there you go. It's actually finding some, and usually it searches, like if you're a local business, it'll search Yelp. It'll even search, my husband's business is in the auto industry, and it searched like some specific car forum or something like that for rating car service providers. There you go. There's a bunch of competitors. Again, it didn't listen to me. I want, please format as a table. I should have said please. I'd say please as much as possible.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. I remember when we were first jumping into doing a lot of prompt engineering work on our team, we read through this study about how it responds, like if you're nice to it, it sometimes will respond better and have more accurate results. So, it was just one study that we had read, but I'm always nice to our robots, please and thank you can go a long way.
Well, and also like the way that this technology works, it involves like latent space within, like, think about it in your brain. Like if you say the Roman Empire, you get a lot of things that come to mind. And so in this instance, you want to give it room to breathe. So don't say like, I need this immediately. Like, take time, think about it. Like, give me your most considered version of this information, and it actually will work better. It's shown that that's true.
I'll even ask it to rank things sometimes if I am asking it for, let's say, specific ideas for something, or I'm asking it to generate names for things or whatnot. And you can definitely ask it to rank it. Let's say rank these from like the most popular, least popular, or what you feel would be best performing. And, it's really interesting to see kind of where it takes it from there.
I haven't run this one, the pain points, but this reminds me of what you were saying, sort of, Charles, about like, can you act as a customer for me, and like, what are your pain points, and let me talk to you as if you're a customer. I think it would be cool for us to add some prompts about simulating customer research. Don't know. I think we do have Stacy on the call as an attendee, and she helps create this beautiful prompt library. So y'all can thank her. And I know Ashley, if you want to throw in some links, I know we have our prompt library, obviously, but we also have, if you scroll down, we have our Substack newsletter, and we send an email every Friday, generally, with some AI advice or updates from our team, and one monthly newsletter just recapping the best of our blog post as well. So it's action-packed stuff. It only comes infrequently, so definitely recommend you all subscribe and help Ashley reach her goal this year for subscribers, because we just launched it in April. And then, there's one more AI office hours to join. So just plugging that really quickly. A question about, this is going to be fun because I'm in Canada and it always drops me back on the home. I'm just going to quickly change my region to the US and come back to GoDaddy.ai, which all of you in America should be able to access, just to show that we have some interesting demos here on some things that we have. And I know WordPress was mentioned. So if you want to, I can't remember who asked it in the chat. I think Sherry, yes, you were asking if there's an AI link that can build your websites with WordPress. Yes, we have a tool for helping to manage your WordPress. And there's actually a really great video here. I won't play it right now, but it can talk about how we have templates set up, and that we're adding new stuff all the time when it comes to AI. And this is another great place to stay up to date with the new stuff that we're bringing to the world in terms of AI tools. Our blog and our prompt library are also linked here. Cool. I don't know if either of you work on WordPress much or have any comments for Sherry on that note, but can jump into something else here.
Well, I just think a lot about the value of a objective third party that's capable of comprehending what we're talking about cannot be understated. So if you've got existing content, throw that in there and say, what's confusing about this? What questions do you have about this? What do you like about this? Like it's limitless on that front. So like, it's great at generating stuff, but it's also great at like critiquing and reworking stuff too.
For sure.
Is there any categories you all want to jump into, or a prompt that you want to just create and just play around with some fake, we can ad lib some business data? I know both of you had potentially some prompts you wanted to talk through or things that you're exploring. I don't know if Ashley, there's been any other questions that we missed in the chat, but definitely we're getting close to time. So if people have burning questions, don't be shy, get in there. Otherwise we can create some stuff and just make some things up.
Dave put in earlier that he was looking at his website.
Oh, yes. Sorry, can you repeat that again, Ashley?
Dave earlier said that he was looking for his site to be interactive. I'm not text Dave.
I don't actually know that we have anything in here specifically about making a site interactive.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be a job for I think GPT-4. You'd be able to put together some kind of like structured code that it would be able to help you with, depending on what type of interactivity you want. Was it Q&A? So that would be, yeah, I mean, basically you would need a form for people to be able to submit questions, and then you would most likely answer them yourself. We're not quite at the point where you can just kind of like have GPT running on your site all the time to answer those questions. That would still require like modules and various other elements to set up. But yeah, you could have it help you kind of format a page that would be able to receive questions from your visitors.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought with interactive was like animations and like different like, JavaScripty type interactive maybe elements, or, I'm not a UX designer, you guys, but I just kind of put the question in there, and then like, you can kind of put your goal, like, yeah, I want my website to be active. Can you help? What do you need to know? And then answer as many of these as you feel you can. And then again, are you looking for forms, quizzes, chatbots, user-generated content? Maybe actually that makes me think like maybe it is about creating a chatbot, and there are definitely tools that can do that for you. I know we have like our conversations app for GoDaddy, which allows you to summarize messages that you get from like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, email, text messages from your customers in one place, and then also auto respond or enhance your responses with AI. So that's cool. I don't think we offer like an AI chatbot yet on our sites, but that sounds like something useful. And I know there's external tools for that. But yeah, I don't know if
yeah, at that point, it's just a cost thing too, because when you operationalize this for a business, then you have to start considering tokens and like how frequently called, and then there's real cost involved too.
Yeah, and then point. Dave, Ashley, can you? There's a bunch of new stuff that's coming in, so I think Dave said like he wants Q&A on his website.
Talking about the interaction on his website. He was talking about Q&A on the website. And then Alessandra, opinion of, is it worth it to pay for the paid version of ChatGPT? And I threw out
Oh, that's a very personal question.
That's a very personal question. On behalf of GoDaddy, I can't say, but personally, I pay for it, so I enjoy it. But
and I've been paying for it for most of the time it's been offered, and I would say that my using of it ebbs and flows. So
Mm-hmm.
the value of it, it's hard to quantify over time. Right now, I'm using it a bunch, so it's worth it now. I actually don't know if you can sign up currently. There's been, I'm sure you've seen some of the news. There's been a little bit of a shakeup at this company at OpenAI. So I think they shut down new Plus subscribers for the time being. So I would recommend it when you can. I don't know when it will open back up, though.
Yeah, I think it's definitely.
I also recommend. I'm in here. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, too, even with the free, use the free version and get comfortable. Like I've played around. I work with Alycia, and she knows that I like it. Just don't put anything personal in it, but go in there and just trial and error and just ask chat. My son's in 7th grade. I do have the paid version for him, but we've used it for a lot. I like just going testing things out and asking it questions, because if nothing else, it will give you a different thought that maybe you didn't think of before, or a different topic that maybe that ideation off of.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a fluency thing too. Like, this is a very different way to surface information. Like, we're used to keywords giving us 10 blue links, and now we're in a conversational situation where it's like, oh, you remember what I was talking about. I don't have to type everything every time.
So Sherry's in the chat here. Is there data being kept to find out what ways AI, ChatGPT have given proven advice that actually has caused a profitable business? Profitable businesses to scale, like Apple Cart. So there are actually a ton of research firms that are looking into how businesses are using AI. And I get sent these quite a bit from our research team at GoDaddy. So it is definitely being experimented with. I would say almost every company is out there trying to figure out how to use AI in their business. In terms of smaller businesses being able to become profitable, I know there's like smaller niche communities like Hustle GPT, where they're like, I have $100 and I want to start a business. ChatGPT, tell me what to do. And like, they just follow the advice along the way. I do not know how successful those have turned out to be. So, try that at your own risk. But there's tons. We unfortunately, we do have some knowledge on like how small businesses are using AI with our venture forward research. And I think we're launching a new survey in the new year as well on this. So you can check out Venture Forward. It's one of our academic research initiatives at GoDaddy into small and micro businesses. In the large businesses area, I don't know if Jessica or Charles, you have any experience with that or have seen anything in the news that it's worth sharing. But
I mean, I'd say that the larger the business, the more internal the use case. The best course of action is always to have somebody at the end of the line to verify veracity and all that. And I just think my dog's barking.
Oh, I'm just opening up a PDF I was sent today that was from July, and it is talking about how marketers are using generative AI worldwide. Number one is basic content creation, writing copy, inspiring creative thinking, analyzing market data, and generating image assets. I think the like analyzing data piece is something I'm super interested in, and we haven't really had a good use case for it, or like just aren't really set up to do this in the demo here, but that could be something fun to play around with. We do have a tool that I've used called GPT for Work, which connects ChatGPT into Google Sheets and Excel, which is really cool. So like, here's 3,000 blog posts that we have. Here's the titles and descriptions. Can you categorize them for me? That would have taken my team weeks to do.
Yeah.
We recategorized our entire blog, and I just had to drag down a cell in a spreadsheet to make it happen.
Yeah, categorization and summarization are the two major strengths of this technology. So giving it like unstructured data and like make sense of this, please, or find a through line, or help me divine a new way to view these metrics. You know, that type of kind of brainstorming with data is a very useful application of this.
Sherry,
Really insightful questions from Sherry today. Did you see this
yeah,
one?
I did. Yeah. And I actually, when you say analyzing your brand, like colors, fonts, and logos, there's a couple of different ways that I read that, which is first like helping discover what your branding should be, which is leans into a little bit of that competitor analysis, but also maybe, you know, what makes your brand you. So what kind of aspects do you like? And those are things that's a chat you could have about, you know, I really, you know, I have this type of style. Let's say I have a really playful style, and I really want to market to Gen Z or something, you know. So those will all influence branding itself. But then on the other side of that, I think that especially with GPT-4, where you can get it to analyze things across the web, if you gave it your website and asked like, how can I update my branding? How can I rebrand my business for X goal, or to sell X product? Or how can I rebrand my business or create branding for my business that makes it more inclusive? Or maybe it's branding that, you know, speaks to, maybe you're switching gears and you're moving into a different subset of your business vertical. Like instead of gemstones, maybe you're moving into fine jewelry or something. So I think it really depends there, but it definitely, I feel like there's a lot of talk right now across the industry about how to use that for branding. So definitely an exciting conversation.
I mean, I'd keep that focused on, you know, here's my intention. This is what I want to present. This is who I want to attract. Do my brand colors align with that? You know, do you think that this color palette is optimal for what I'm hoping to present with the world?
Yeah. So what would you add to this? I'm just going back to Sherry's business of creating wigs and hair extensions. Can you help me, you know, identify a color palette, identify,
Yeah,
you know,
if we're talking about
I'm on
branding,
3.5 now too.
I was going to say, if we're talking about branding, yeah, can you help me create a brand identity, including color palettes, and you could even have it write short descriptions for your website based off of your brand identity, and even generate, which is some of the work that I am like excited about, or at least like have a lot of familiarity with, which is creating content and content schedules and strategy and whatnot.
Well, let's also not forget that, like, you know, people with autoimmune diseases could be titans of industry. They could be creatives. They could be artists. And in that world, you want to really focus in on how you want these people to feel. So if you know, you want them to feel powerful or whimsical, or, you know, there's a lot of directions that you can go, even if you're targeting a specific demographic, that you could really hone in on, that will also kind of help kind of structure the responses to be a little bit more focused on what you want, as opposed to just kind of scattershot.
Yeah. And I see Greg asking in the chat, so are we really going to ask a bot about best colors for our company? And, you know, GPT-4 probably would generate a color palette and a logo for you with the Dolly integration, but it's just asking and suggesting, you know, these are colors that we think would evoke a sense of comfort and support and seem to be aligned with, you know, what your business is all about. So it's more like, again, take it or leave it, right? This is a consultant, this is an advisor or an employee. Like you don't have to go with what they say. Like ultimately trust your gut, trust your vision for your business, and use this as a tool. That's what it's here for. That's why we're here showing it off. I know we're at time here. Any burning thoughts, Charles or Jessica, that you didn't get across yet? I'm happy to stay for a couple extra minutes, and thanks everybody for joining.
Yeah.
This has been great. Very exciting stuff. Definitely encourage everyone to play around with GPT. It's a really fun tool, and definitely like, it's just a great assistant. It's the best. I don't know. I feel like it can really save everyone some time.
It's a great
But yeah,
sounding board.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Definitely check out smallbusinessprompts.com. Subscribe to our Substack if you want to keep learning. And we have one more office hours next week. So you still have time to join that one. Thank you so much, Charles and Jessica. It was so fun to have two panelists on. It was great. You're both amazing. Thanks all attendees for joining. And we will be getting out an update with the recording as soon as we can. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.